Lesson 7.2 is called Ambiguous Case of the Law of Sine, and then we're going to look at some examples from assignment 2. So depending on the given numbers for the angles and the sides, sometimes when we apply the law of sine, there will be only one possible set for the remaining missing angles and the sides. But sometimes there might be two possible triangles, and sometimes there will be no triangle exists. So we're going to model first question. We have angle A given, side B is given, side A is given. So we're going to actually locate how many possible sets are available for this triangle. So here, angle A is given as, here 25.5 degrees. And then side B is given as 43.6 feet. And A is given as 26.4. Since we have the angle A and side A, we're going to start our proportion with using these two. So we know that sine of angle A over side A will be equal to sine of angle B over side B. So sine of angle A is given as 25.5 over side A is 26.4 is equal to, angle B is missing, so we just have to copy sine B, and side B is 43.6. When we do cross multiplication, we're not going to find the angle B, we're going to find the sine of angle B. So sine of angle B will be equal to sine of 25.5 times 43.6 all over 26.4. So let's find the sine value of the angle B by putting this question to a calculator. So on the top, we will need sine of 25.5, sine of 25.5 times, and then I am going to need 43.6, and then the denominator here is 26.4. So this is the sine value for angle B. Now we know that from the previous chapters, if we have the sine value of an angle and we want the angle, we're going to do arc sine. So when I ask calculator, what is arc sine of this answer? So I think there's a way to copy this answer we got from the previous line, and I can paste it on the next line. And I tell the calculator that I'm actually looking for the angle who has this sine value. It tells me that angle B must be 45.32. So angle B is equal to, but let's see, do they want just one decimal place? The answer key is just one decimal place. So we're just going to put the answer as 45.3. Angle B is 45.3. Now, to understand if it is possible to have another value for angle B. So as we know from the unit circle that sine values are positive in quadrant 1 and in quadrant 2. For some of these questions, the angle B can be an angle in quadrant 1 because it has a positive sine value, but it might be also an obtuse angle who ends in quadrant 2. So what we are going to check is, what about sine of, so I'm going to go to the next line, and I'm going to say sine of 180 minus this, the original answer you gave me. I'm going to just check if it has also the same sine value. So when I look at what about the supplementary angle to this, the supplementary angle to this still has the same sine value. So B is not necessarily 45.3, but instead, I'm just going to now remove the sign in the parentheses. And I will also think about the supplementary version. B can be 45.3 or it can be 134.5. So the other option is, so I'm going to call this as B1, and I'm going to call the other one as B2. B2 is 134.7. 134.7. So this means for the remaining angles and sides, so we have two options, option 1 and option 2. So let's just copy the given information, which are not going to change between the options. Angle A is 25.5. So angle A is 25.5 for either options. And then if we know the side A, if it is given in the problem, we're just going to copy. It will not change from option to option. And it's given as 26.4. Now for angle B, one triangle can use the value of 45.3, and the other option is going to use 134.7. So side B and side B, let's see if that was given in the problem. Side B is given as 43.6. So we're going to now find the angle C in either case, and we're going to find the side C in either case. Now, finding the angle is easy. All we have to do is add the two angles and subtract them from 180. So when I add 25.5 with 45.3, that's 8, that's 70.8. And then subtract this from 180, that's 109.2. So the missing here angle for C will be equal to 109.2. However, for option 2, because angle B has changed, we used another value for angle B. So that makes our angle C difference. So angle A here is 25.5. I'm going to add it with 134.7, which will give me this sum. And then when I subtract this sum from the 180, it's going to give me 19.8 as an answer. So for angle C for the option 2, the value must be 19.8 degrees. For each triangle, we will get different C values. So I think I want to use this, and I want to say sine of 25.5 over 26.4 will be equal to sine of 109.2 over C. And then when I do cross multiplication, the C value on the option 1 will be calculated using 26.4 times sine of 109.2 all over sine of 25.5. Now we will put this into the calculator and find the answer. But for option 2, we're going to still use the A sine of angle A over side A will be equal to this time, because we have a different C value, angle C value, sine of 19.8 over side C. So when we do cross multiplication, this one is going to still use 26.4, but we will multiply it by sine of 19.8, and then we will divide it by sine of 25.5. So let's just input the first one. We will need 26.4, so I don't need really everything anymore. I am going to need here 26.4 first, and I will multiply it by sine of 109.2, and then I will divide my answer by sine of 25.5. And so something is not right, so let's just try to put this 25.5 in a parentheses. And then this one, instead of a dot, I put a comma. Now it should work. So this one is giving me 57.9, 57.9. This one, 57.9 is the possible side value for C here. Here, if we change the angle from 109.2 to 19.8, I'm just going to change this to 19.8. It gives me 20.6 20.77. 20.77 is the other value. So when we go back to this homework, it tells me that for the first one, if you choose the angle B as 45.3, and then this will become your C value. But when you choose the other B value, and then you get your other C value. Apparently, I did the other sides unnecessarily for number one, but if that's what they're asking you, that's how you will solve for all the missing sides, which you're gonna have to do for some other questions on the homework. We're gonna now look at question 2 from the homework for the same type of problems, but this time the answer is no such triangle exists. Let's see how are we going to get this answer for the second question. So for the second question here, we have the angle A as 38.8. Angle A is 38.8 degrees. And then side A is 4. Side C is 18.6. So we don't have anything about angle C. We don't have anything about angle B. We don't have anything about side B. For this question, find the unknown angles in this triangle for each triangle that exists. So it wants to find me the, it requires us to find the missing angles. So the first angle I can locate is actually angle C, because I can set up a proportion as sine of 38.8 over 4 is equal to sine of C over side C. And when we do cross multiplication, sine of angle C will be calculated using 18.6 times sine of 38.8 over 4. So I want to ask this to the calculator to locate the sine value for angle C. 18.6. 18.6 is the first value. And then we're going to multiply it by sine of 38.8. And then the denominator is just 4. So the calculator gives me that for angle C, the sine value must be 2.9. But remember, the sine values cannot be more than 1 and they cannot be less than -1. Whenever you get a sine value equal to more than 1 or less than -1, such C cannot exist because there is no angle in trigonometry where the sine value is 2.9. Therefore, the answer for this question is no such triangle exists. So for these questions, on the homework, some of these problems, they will have 2 solutions, some of them no solution exists, and some of them will be just 1 solution depending on the given numbers. And good luck with the ambiguous case of the law of sines for 7.2.